For child-free folks, there is no script. It's not like, oh, we're going to go do this with our life. And the vast majority of child-free folks don't want to pass on money to the next generation as a priority. So if you're going to do that, you end up embracing something closer to die with zero, where you're like, hey, I got to bring my net worth down. And it starts changing all of the basic assumptions around finance.
The die with zero one is really interesting, and I never really thought about that as it pertains to having children or not, because there are some, parents out there that I've spoken to, even older generations, that have thought like, yeah, I'm going to help my kids. These are more affluent households, obviously, but I'm going to help my kids buy a house or start a business and give them a chunk of cash. But at the end of the day, I want to die with nothing because I want to enjoy all the money that I've earned over my lifetime. So how would you consult someone with the sort of die with zero concept in mind?
Yeah. So keep in mind, most of the financial rules assume you want to pass that money to the next generation. So
Sure.
like even like the 4% safe withdrawal rate assumes you want to keep the principal. Monte Carlo simulations all are for solving not to have zero. So
Right.
it like screws up the whole system. Like there's these biases, you mentioned it, that are built in there. So we have to think about it differently. The way we do die with zero is the first thing is we solve for long-term care. We figure out a solution, whether it's out of pocket or insurance for long-term care, put off Social Security till 70, put a little safety net of money. You're not truly going to die with zero, but like most of it.
Right.
Then we set guardrails, and we're really setting guardrails around how much you have to spend. And this is one of those things like I've actually tracked that we spend more time with our clients talking about spending money than saving money.
Hmm.
Because I have clients, they might be 30, 40, they got 3, 4, 5 million. By the time they die, they have 20 or 30 million. That's a $20 million problem to them because it's going to a generation they don't care about. The way I say it from my life is my nephews get what's left over. If they get 10 grand or 100 grand, that's fine. If they get $1 million, I made a mistake because I could have helped them throughout their life, or I could have used the money given away or done whatever it was rather than just passing it on my estate. So it
Right.
really is a completely different way of thinking. And when you tie that into child-free folks really not making retirement a goal, where they're going to cut back on work, we have a prospect called file, finish, spend, live early. Instead, if you're not going to retire, you're not going to pass the money to the next generation, like all of the assumptions get thrown out and you have to build a new plan.
Wow, you said something about don't care about the next generation, and did you mean more because they don't have kids, so there's no generation of their DNA to pass on, or most people you see in that scenario aren't even thinking about how to give some of that money to the next generation, like productively, charities or
So
whatnot?
if you actually look at it, if you want to see a group that actually understands people, anyone in the philanthropic world, begging for money, they've actually figured out child-free people give away more money. It's just
Right.
they're already marketing to us because percentage wise, we're like, sure, we'll give it to charities. And what's happening is if you're going to give it to charities, you want to do that during your lifetime because you get tax breaks during your lifetime. If you give it away in your estate, you get nothing out of it.
Right.
So we're being more mindful about that. It's not necessarily like, hey, I don't care about the other generations. It's just a different set of priorities.
Hmm.
What happens is for parents, often they get to a point where like they have enough money, they're good, their kids are good, but they still keep working because like, well, I can make my kids' lives better, or my grandkids, or whatever else it is. For us, we don't. So we have to actually work on these questions like, what's the point of life and why are we doing this? And what do we really want out of our life a whole
Right.
lot earlier?